You know what time it is. It is time for Monday Club. I'm your host, Gus Davis. Along with me, as always, is Peter Bois. We are about to Monday Club it up here. We've got an amazing show for you today. We're going to be talking about Jerry Seinfeld and him snubbing Kesha. We're going to be talking about our zombie survival programs. And, of course, we've got our fun, teachable moments. So much more in store for you. Stick around. Monday Club is awesome.
Cheers to Jerry Seinfeld!
Cheers to Jerry Seinfeld. And cheers to you, my friend. Pete, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm good. How are you doing, man?
I gotta be honest with you. In preparation for Monday Club, I sort of started drinking already. So I'm doing great, man.
You pre-gamed Monday Club? That's
I
awesome.
pre-gamed Monday Club. This is gonna be a great episode.
I am super excited because you have not seen this video yet of Jerry Seinfeld.
No, I was looking on our show notes. The words that are on this piece of paper make sense, but I don't understand them in the order. So it says, Jerry Seinfeld refuses to hug Kesha?
Yes. All right, let me set the stage. They're at a, variety something event. They're on the red carpet. I don't know where they are, somewhere. Jerry Seinfeld is being interviewed by a TV station. I'm going to play this for you now. Here we go. He's being interviewed. That was Kesha.
Oh my God. She is so embarrassed.
Isn't that awful and funny? Can I have a hug?
You must
No,
be
thanks.
so embarrassed right now. Do me.
Can I have a hug? No, thanks. Can I have a
No,
hug?
thanks.
No, thanks. And he backs away. He takes like 2 steps back like he thinks he's going to be accosted by Kesha. Oh, man.
That is funny.
Cheers to
oh
you,
my
Jerry Seinfeld, for being hilarious. And apparently he's not a hugger. Who would have thought?
God. For being hilarious, for being honest, and yeah, for not being a hugger. Cheers to you, Mr. Seinfeld. Thanks for making us laugh.
Yeah, that's a... Maybe he just has a really... Either he didn't know who it was, obviously, and who really does know who that person is anyways. Or he just has a strict no-hug policy. What would you bet on?
I'm going to say that it's that he genuinely didn't know who that was, and I think his mind probably works so quickly that in his brain, I don't know you, I'm not just going to randomly hug you. Where I will say that I'm the complete opposite. If someone could be walking around with a knife in one hand and bloody stained clothes and walk up to me and say, hey, can I have a hug? And like my natural reaction is just, yeah, man, come here.
Bring it in, bro.
Good. Lock it in. Lock it in. But I totally can see Jerry Seinfeld being like, yeah, I don't know you. Goodbye. No, I don't. No, please, no. Yeah, I don't think he's a germaphobe like, what's that dude's name? Howie Mandel. I think it's just, nope. No thanks.
Yeah, I wonder if he gets accosted or want to be hugged by fans all the time. So that's his natural. No, thank you. He was very polite about it.
Yeah, he said thanks.
Yeah, and he was very precise about his words. No. No means rape. Don't do it.
Let me put you on the spot. The scene is You're on the red carpet. You've made it to some big event. You're on the red carpet. Kesha runs up to you and says, hey, can I get a hug? But at the same time, you're being interviewed for WUSA number 9. Do you give Kesha a hug and interrupt your interview, or just like, nah, it's good?
Do I know who she is?
Would you know Kesha if she ran up to you?
No. Okay, so I'm giving an interview. They're asking me questions. A really pretty girl runs up to me and wants to embrace me. Hell yeah, I do that.
Yeah, right, yeah. I think
hug
that's
her.
the honest answer for both of us. But again, we're not Jerry Seinfeld, so...
Yeah. What if, like, who's the hottest woman you could think of right now? Quick, go!
My wife. I win.
Oh, brownie points tonight, Gus.
She's
Brownie
definitely
points.
listening in the other room, so...
Hi, Shannon. We love you. So your wife... Okay, that ruins my question.
Let's say Beyonce, because I think we would all recognize Beyonce.
Yeah, I'm like you. I would give, maybe short of knife in hand, bloody clothes, I would give pretty much anyone a hug.
Yeah, I'm a hugger. I'm definitely a hugger.
People after the show come up and sometimes they give you a hug and sometimes they ask, can I give you a hug? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not? I don't mind. You know what the weird thing is? If you do family shows, sometimes like the little kids like really love you you know, and immediately after the show, they come up and run up and hug you.
Yeah,
And
absolutely, that happens.
Yeah, totally. And, you know, it's kind of a weird situation because, you know, you're like a stranger and they're like hugging you and they're, you know, their head's at that perfect height. So you have to bend down so you don't get it at the in the crotch there with, and then you're doubled
right.
over.
Or you do the weird, awkward sideways hug, right?
Yeah,
so
totally.
Head to hip. Yep.
Yeah, and then you're, you know, all this whole stranger danger, pedophiles lurking everywhere now. You're like, you give and you know, you don't want to seem like a weird dude hugging this random child, but you don't want to crush this child's dreams of giving you a hug because they enjoyed you on stage, you know? Like, it's kind of, you ever have that awkward moment, or is that just me?
Oh my God, no. I worked at a summer camp for like 18 years doing magic shows and teaching magic and juggling and puppets and all that stuff. And in that time, I had some of the most awkward moments of my entire life with young kids because they run up, they love you like a superhero. Right? And the same experiences when you finish a show and they come up to you after the show, they're meeting their celebrity, and in their brain, they just watched you do some just absolutely incredible stuff, right? But yeah, man, I'm going to tell you, this is so terrible, man. So I'm going to tell you my...
Wait, worse than driving away from a homeless man while you're holding a bag of food out the window?
This one's worse than driving away from a homeless man while holding some free food out the window. Yeah.
You can get that story last episode if you haven't got it.
Yeah, so worse than that. So I was running the summer camp years and years ago. I was probably 20, 21.
Running? Like you were the overseer of the
Yeah, like I was in charge of the camp. And
wow.
I had this one girl, she was probably 10 or 11 years old, super cute, just blonde-haired, blue eyes, giant smile, just a lovely human being. And she was just in love with me, and not in like a weird, creepy way, but in a just I could do no wrong. I was her favorite person there. And one day, oh my God, I feel so terrible telling the story. One day,
I can't wait for this.
She one of her favorite things, because I'm a giant in real life. I'm 6'1", giant to this girl, and she came up and she wanted me to swing her, and so she grabbed onto my arms and I started spinning around. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know what happened. I don't know if she slipped off, if she let go, if I was sweaty. I don't know. But she went flying off. I was definitely spinning her, and she went flying off. And for real, she broke both of her arms.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me?
Nope, that's a real story. And so her parents came to pick her up. She was 10 or 11.
You broke a 10-year-old's arms.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah, that really happened.
Oh my God. Epic Monday Club fail. Oh my God.
Yeah. So her parents came and picked her up, and I was 100% convinced that I was going to get sued. And I told her parents, I was like, listen, I don't know what to tell you. She climbed up on me. I was spinning her. She asked me to spin her. And I don't know what happened, and the next thing she fell, and she just planted her arms wrong, and she broke both of her arms. Anyway, I'm sure the parents were pissed, and she never came back to camp ever again. Like, that was the last time I saw that chick, right? And I felt terrible about that for about 5 or 6 years. I truly, genuinely, that was one of the worst experiences of my life. Flash forward to about 6 years later, she comes back. She's like in high school now. And what happened was she was the next week after that, her and her parents moved out of state. And so they didn't get a chance to come back to the camp. But they made a special trip back to Austin just to come and visit the camp to see me personally and say, hey, look, we just wanted to make sure you knew that she's still like your number one fan and that there's no hard feelings or anything like that. And she gave me a big hug, and she was going off to, work on being in high school and doing all that stuff. So it was really cool to close that loop. But oh my God, for real, one of the worst, darkest days of my life.
When she came back, did she ask you to spin her?
No.
Wow. That is really sweet they came back, but really awful that you broke a 10-year-old's arms.
Yeah, it is. Now, on your scale, is that worse than chirping out in front of a homeless person while dragging food in front of them, or
Yeah.
less worse?
That is way worse than
Good.
teasing
I
a homeless
just wanna know where I
person with a
stand.
bag of McDonald's and driving away really quickly before they get there. Way worse.
Well, I feel like Monday Club is off to a great start this week. I'll tell you what, Pete. Hey, buddy, what are you drinking?
Oh, I'm drinking. I'm glad you asked. I'm drinking Harpoon Camp Wana Mango, crisp, tropical, refreshing pale ale with mango. It is Harpoon. I'm from Boston, and it's mango pale ale. Let me take a sip. It's very good. It's got the sweet mango finish on it. It's very, very delicious. What are you drinking?
I am super excited this week because I got my hands on one of my favorite beers of all time.
Whoa, that's a lot to say.
Yeah, I know it is, but it's truly one of my favorite beers of all time. It's a Texas brewed beer. It's by the Revolver Brewing Company. It's called Blood and Honey, and it's an American ale, 7% alcohol by volume. It's got orange peel in it, and let's see, an unfinished deep golden ale brewed with malted two-row barley and wheat, finished with blood orange peel, Texas honey, and a blend of spices. And oh my God, it's the perfect summer beer. So I'm in my happy place right now.
That logo looks badass.
It is, dude.
Two
not
revolvers?
only is the logo is badass, it's a little bit of foreshadowing for this episode, but it's two revolvers back to back, kind of like a little bit of Dark Tower movie that's going to be coming out here pretty soon.
Oh, you just got the tinglies in my tummy. I can't wait for that movie. Oh, man. Hey, you know what we need to start doing? We need to start posting pictures on Instagram and Facebook of each beer and drink every week.
Oh, yeah, done. I can do that.
All right, let's do that. Let's
All
do
right.
that. So
Good. That was a good business talk right there on air.
yeah, start checking social for pictures of these beers so you can find them, because it's so much easier to look at the label when you're going to your store. Because some people might want to try these beers that we're drinking. So much easier.
I cannot recommend Blood and Honey high enough. It is truly one of the for me personally, I am not an IPA guy. I like dark beers, I like amber beers, I like stouts, but I am not a huge fan of the IPA. This Revolver is this American ale. It's like the lemonade of beers. It's like if I were sitting out by a pool and just drinking nothing but beer, this would be the beer that I was drinking.
The lemonade of beers. I need to find that. Thank you guys so much for listening. We really appreciate it. Check us out on iTunes. Subscribe to the podcast. Give us some love up there. We say that every week. But you know what? I want to ask you one little favor. I want you to tell one friend about this show. Just one, please. And hopefully they'll listen and become part of the club too. We want to have more Monday Clubbers. So yeah, if you like us, what we're doing here, yeah, definitely tell a friend.
And how would they find us, Pete?
Oh, I'm glad you asked, Gus. You can go to MondayClubPodcast.com. That has our Facebook link, our Instagram link, our Twitter link, our iTunes link is up there as well. So yeah, MondayClubPodcast.com. Hey, you know what? Someone kind of famous liked one of our Instagram posts.
That's impossible. No one listens to this show.
Well, there is at least one person. Guess who? I won't let you guess. You probably are. I already told you.
Yeah, I know. I happen to know the answer to this question.
Adam Carolla liked our Instagram post.
Hey!
Woohoo! That was from last week. I posted a picture of Super Saiyan, whatever that weird Japanese cartoon
that's the
you and
fusion
Norm
pose.
like.
It's the fusion pose. Come on, man.
All right. And and he liked it. And I looked through people who like it, and that was and he did that. So it might not have been him. It might have been his like interns or whatever, but I'm just saying, Adam, we are available for your Ace Podcasting Network if you want to add us to that.
Yeah, if you want to pick us up, Adam, that's cool. And I want to say, personal note from me to you, Mr. Carolla, that the Man Show was a huge influence on my adolescence growing up. I just can't tell you how much you and Mr. Kimmel influenced me as a person, as an entertainer, as an artist with the Man Show.
I want to know your personal story. How did women jumping on trampolines influence you exactly?
So I'll tell you, that's I can actually answer this in a real genuine way. It wasn't so much the women jumping on trampolines, which is how they ended every show on the Man Show, that made me genuinely, as an artist, think about their show. Because obviously that's super sexist and very strip clubby, right? But to have the balls to be on a network TV show to end your show called The Man Show with women jumping on trampolines is, I mean, that is super, super ballsy in and of itself, to just conceptually say, hey, this is what we're going for. This is the arc that's running through our story, and goddamn it, if we're following it through to the nth degree, this is how that story arc ends. That's actually ballsy. Now, I'm not... For ladies out there, I'm not taking away that it was sexist, but it's called The Man Show, and they were doing mansers and talking about how to get hair plugs that look good. I mean, that was the gist of the show. So, yeah, I actually really, really enjoyed that show.
Unapologetic commitment to what they were doing.
That's exactly right. Absolutely right. Unapologetic commitment to what you're doing and staying true to the narrative of your show. And for that show, too, there was a character on that show called the Fox. And I don't know if you remember this character, but there was the old guy that sat in the audience that could drink 2 pints of beer in like 1 gulp each. It was the most amazing thing ever.
I remember the old guy. I didn't realize he was called the Fox.
Yeah, I remember high school transitioning into college and college parties and stuff like that, being like, man, that old dude must be super cool to hang out with.
Or if you buy him a drink, it's not savoring it very long.
No, he's not going to savor it, but I mean, you know, I bet you could get some awesome stories out of that guy.
Yeah, totally. So I was interviewed for my upcoming summer show, Conjuring at the Colony, by the Portland Press Herald, which was cool. But one thing I found interesting during kind of the conversation with the reporter is I find it intriguing what people find interesting about me and what I do. You never find that someone latches onto something you least expect? Because normally people are interested in, oh, how'd you get started in this? Can you make a living at it? Is it, you know, the common questions, magic, the secrets, you know, but he was more interested in me getting together with other magicians and like the community, that other magicians are friends with other magicians and we help each other. He was more fascinated and intrigued by that.
Oh, dude, that's so interesting. That's cool. I actually really like that. I think he did his homework. I think that's because, yeah, what are the 3 questions that you normally get? It's how did you get started?
Yep.
Can you make a living?
Or is this your full-time job?
Or is this your full-time job?
Or
right?
What do you do? Or what's your other job?
Right? Like, right?
That's the worst version of this. That question.
And I usually get, when I get interviewed, which you know is basically once every 2 years, what's your favorite trick? I think that's another one that they often say. Let's start there, man. So he says that he wants to know, do magicians hang out with each other and share their secrets? Is that right?
Well, yeah, he was just kind of seeing my background, and I told him about a bunch of magicians that I've always gotten together with in Maine, and we kind of stayed in contact, and we'll get together and hang out and work on tricks. And he was just like, oh, that's cool, because he's in the artist community. He knows about other performers and artists, and that they get together and we learn from each other. But magicians were kind of a blind spot for him, because he's like, we don't actually normally cover magicians, but this sounded interesting. And right then my chest went, oh, I puffed up. I was like, oh, thanks. He's like, oh, cool. I broke the mold.
Do you actually you get in touch and hang out with a bunch of other magicians on a pretty regular basis and talk shop, don't you?
Yeah, totally. I mean, there's a group in Portland that I've been hanging out with since I was a teenager. And we all get together. It's like once a month thing where we get together and we talk shop and have some beers and work on tricks, talk business, and it's been really helpful throughout my learning process and my career. There's a couple full-timers and some part-timers, and then just hobbyists that work full-time jobs, but they've always loved magic and they've always worked on magic, and they're really smart and they have great ideas. And so it's a really a great way to bounce new ideas off of those people. So
that's cool. I'm fortunate enough that in Austin there's a core group of us that every once in a while get together and do talk shop. And there's a big magic community here. There's the SAM and the IBM, the Society of American Magicians and the International Brotherhood of Magicians, that both have groups and chapters here. In fact, very large groups and chapters here in Austin. And so, yeah, there's meetings and clubs where we can talk shop and get lectures and stuff like that. But
yeah,
honestly, the best advice when I'm really trying to work on a new effect, or when I'm really trying to hammer in some dialogue or some script and I really want to get my script down, I think the best thing to do is what we do here on Monday Club, and that is buy your friends a drink and just go through it line by line, item by item, with some people that you really like and trust, and get their opinions about things, don't you?
Yeah, totally. Trust is a great way to put it, because whenever you get feedback, you always need to put it through the filter of who is giving me this feedback. Sometimes actually you can get really great feedback from the weirdest places. Just even after the show, someone says, "Oh, I didn't like this part of the show." And then at first you're like, "Oh, that's one of the best parts." And then you might think about it farther and you might realize they actually meant something else. Instead of they didn't like that part, they didn't like a certain aspect of it. And if you change that, you can make it better. Have you ever been taken aback by a question? Has anyone asked you any weird questions after a show or in an interview where you're just like...
Dude, absolutely. Like, all the time. And it's funny because I think as performers, we get so caught up in our own process and how we do things that when we get asked a question or when someone challenges how we do things, I think we take it very personally. We've put a lot of time and effort and thought into this. So when someone says some criticism or asks you a question about why you did something, I think my first reaction is, listen, I don't even know your name, but I have put more time and thought into this than you can possibly imagine. So just piss off and enjoy my genius as to this thing, right? Usually those kind of conversations end up with me actually getting much better because at least I have somebody else's opinion or thought process that's completely left field of where I am. So one of my examples is for the game shows. We used to do a question that said, if you were going to be the next Hugh Hefner, what would you need? So what would you need to become the next Hugh Hefner?
Like in personality or money? Or...
Yeah, whatever. So money is definitely one of them. A magazine was one of them. Girls was one of them. Grotto was one of them. I don't remember the rest. But those are some of the answers on that question.
A nice smoking jacket.
A nice smoking jacket. Yeah. I think Viagra was one of them. Which was funny, and that used to be how we closed the show. But after the show one time, I had a lady come up, and she's like, hey, just so you know, I think Hugh Hefner's a disgusting pig. And I was like, hey, I think that's a totally fair opinion. I'm not asking you to like that person. I'm just saying if you were going to be that person, what are some of the attributes that you think of? And if you said as your answer an asshole male chauve, that would be a thing you got to say on the microphone. I think that would be good for you. And then I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? It's not... That joke of Viagra being one of the answers is not worth any of my audience sitting there thinking, God, I just think that this whole subject matter is offensive. It's just not worth it. I'm funny in other ways. We can find something else funny. So we ended up cutting that question, even though that was our closing question for probably 2 years. We ended up cutting it. So,
Gus, I completely disagree with you. You have to go back to unapologetically committed to what you're doing, right? With the Man Show?
Yeah.
Everyone's going to be offended over something.
That's absolutely true. Everyone can be offended over something. I guess it doesn't hurt to say that this was a all-women's college that we were doing like 8 shows for.
So you had some feminists in the audience that
you
were
just
a little upset.
While I 100% agree with being unapologetic for your craft, I also think that the phrase know your audience applies in certain situations.
You know what, though? Everybody in the pages of a Playboy has agreed to be there, right? I mean, it's all consensual. How can you get mad at Hugh Hefner for... Not only is he providing a service for the readers, he's also providing a service for these women who want to do what he's doing, right?
Dude, I agree with you, but I also think that it is within That's a contract between individual and magazine. I think people outside of that who are just offended with the subject matter in general have a rightful point of view. And I'm not saying that that's my view. I'm just saying that for me personally, as an artist doing that show, I really thought about continuing to do that question because I think that the question isn't offensive to me personally. But I did. I changed that question. I replaced that question just to make sure that I was covering my bases as far as my audience was concerned, and specifically that audience. That audience was just the demographic of that audience was not the demographic for a Playboy question.
I might agree with you on that specific audience, but I don't know. Everyone gets offended over something. We have to be less offended. I don't think we should get offended over talking about stuff in general. Like, if someone has a different opinion than you, okay, they have a different opinion. You shouldn't be offended over their opinion. It's their opinion, you know? You can have different points of view without being offended, and you should be able to talk about any subject without being offended.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever been offended? Has someone in your audience ever been offended by your magic show?
I would assume so. I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. I do a bit where I ask, so by a show of hands, how many people have ever been arrested? And that's how I started off. I've had a school ask me not to do that next time I come back but I think it's a funny way to open the show. They just didn't want to be seen or not open the show, but open the bit. I think it's a funny way to get into it. They just didn't want that. Okay, I'd rather get the show than take it out. But I guess it's more on an individual basis. You know, if someone asked me to take it out, I would. Yeah. No, I don't. I've never specifically been told someone's been offended by my show.
I had one time, I had a person come up after a show and tell me that they didn't like my magic show because everything I did was tricks. And I said, well, I don't know what to tell you. Everything I do is tricks. like I'm not going to sit up here and pretend like what I do, like I actually have magic powers. So if you're offended because you didn't see any actual magic, as in breaking the rules of time and space to create an illusion, I will give you your money back. But what I hope I did was provide wonder to you. And they sat there and they said, well, the thing is, my brother is actually a chosen one and does real magic. And we thought that's what you did.
What?
Yep, and I was like...
How old is this person?
Oh, I mean, this is an adult. This is somebody who's like 40 or 50 years old.
An adult
and I said,
being.
Yeah, and I was like, well, I don't know how to continue this conversation. I provide a service of entertainment using wonder and illusion as what I use to provide that entertainment. But I don't do real magic. So if what you came to see was actual real magic, then you've got a really long wait.
You have the weirdest people in Texas, man. You want someone who does real magic. You have flat earthers. Well, they were from France that were visiting Texas. Flat earthers. Who else? You have some interesting encounters. I've had people like pray during tricks in my show.
Wait, no, don't just yada 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 over that one, man. What do you mean? Did you start a religion?
I do a ghost story trick in my show, and so I start talking about the spiritualist movement of the 1800s and early 1900s, and I just remember looking over and seeing, I don't know, it was a middle-aged man with his hands folded and his head down, just, I'm assuming he was praying the entire time I did that routine, and when I was done, he stopped praying. Apparently, he didn't want to get possessed by Satan or some demon that I was conjuring.
Oh my God, that is amazing.
I've had that happen on multiple occasions.
You do a conjuring show and you talk about ghosts. I think that's a really personal issue. Like, I bet if you ask your audience how many of you believe in ghosts, it would probably be about 50-50. And I don't know what that says about America, but but how do you take that, man? Like, do you ever have people come up after your show and talk to you about their ghost experiences?
Yeah, I do. And sometimes a lot of people, I'm more likely to get, hey, is that thing you did with the ghost a trick or is that real? And I always say it was a trick. And then they go, oh, phew, but that was really awesome. And that's exactly what I want. I don't want to change people's brains on, perceptions of reality. I want them to experience something and then know that the world is exactly how they thought it was before the show. So every once in a while I'll get that. I think I had a little kid come up to me and be like, my brother's really freaked out. That was just a trick, right? And I was like, yeah, that was a trick. And then they're like, oh, okay, cool. And I was like, good on them for a little kid too. Normally little kids will just believe what you feed them. But they really, they questioned it, and that was nice. So yeah, I've always wanted, this is going to sound weird maybe, but I've always wanted a religious group to pick at my show.
No, I think that would be amazing. That would be the pinnacle. Because you're combining magic and religion at that point. You're crossing over a weird line where whatever you're doing is strong enough that a religious group is at least focusing on it. And I think that would be epic.
Total notch in the belt as a magician. So there's a certain group of magicians that have been picketed by this religious groups. And it's very small. There's like 4 people in there.
What great advertising you can have. So, dude, can I tell you my own personal ghost story?
You have a personal ghost story.
Yeah, I do.
So do you believe in ghosts?
Absolutely not.
Okay, go for it.
I'm going to be on record, on air, saying not only do I not believe in ghosts, but I think that the idea of believing in ghosts is, man, I don't want to say crazy. That's not right. I think that the world is so complicated. The way that things actually work is so complicated that instead of ghosts, I think people take things that are unexplained or seem creepy at the time and attribute them to supernatural powers. That's what I actually think. I'm going to put a big period at the end of that sentence. Next paragraph is, that being said, here's my ghost story. So the way that our house is set up, my wife and I are asleep in one room. It's connected by a wall to my son's room where he's asleep. And at the time, he was probably 5 years old. I don't even know what happened the night before. It doesn't even matter. But he's asleep. I'm asleep. Everything's good. At about 4 o'clock in the morning, my wife wakes me up by shaking me as hard as she can. And I come conscious in my brain. And what I come conscious to is me basically screaming out loud, talking about a black circle. And my wife is like, wake up, wake up, wake up. You're having like a night terror. I don't know what's going on, but you're yelling about a black circle. And I was like, oh, yeah, I don't know. And I'm like covered in sweat. And it was just, I'm just in that weird mode of I've just woken up. And in the back of my brain, I'm terrified. Well, as soon as I wake up and come conscious and she's told me this, I like lay back in bed and I'm awake, but I'm kind of trying to, in my brain, figure out what's going on. And all of a sudden, through the wall, we hear my son just scream. And both her and I get out of bed and we run into his room. And he is sitting up in bed, completely with his eyes open. We can see his eyes in the dark because they're so big. And he is up against the wall and he's staring in the corner. And we look, and obviously there's nothing there, but he's not kidding. He's still asleep with his eyes open, and he's terrified. And he's looking up on the side of the wall, and he's like, it's big and black. Do you see it? Do you see it? And so, in a weird way, we both had the same dream at the exact same time of whatever this thing was. And that was super creepy. Did he say
circle? Did he say a circle?
I'm going to be honest, I don't remember if he said circle or not, but the language that he was using was very similar to the language I was using. And it was so similar that similarity created a memory of it being a real experience that we both were having of this same shared bad dream or whatever it was. So That was my personal ghost story. Now, does that change anything for me? Absolutely not. I still obviously don't believe in ghosts. I think one of the scariest things in this world would be to actually see a ghost. Because if I personally actually witnessed a ghost in this world, I think that it would change how I personally perceive the world. I would think that I had a glimpse into the afterlife or into another realm or whatever. And I think I would sound like a crazy person because I would be like, no, dude, for real. I actually know this exists. And everyone else would sound exactly like me right now. So, like, that's really, really scary for me to actually think that there really are ghosts. But I will say that is a real thing that happened to me, and that night I don't think any of us got any extra sleep because it was super creepy.
Gus, that's fucked up.
Right?
What about zombies? Do you think that's ever possible?
I gotta be honest, I do think zombies are possible. I think that the whole, like, zombie outbreak thing is totally possible. One, watching an animal that has rabies is terrifying. And
Yeah.
two, I was reading some scientific reports talking about the HIV epidemic when it first was a big thing in, like, the 80s, the 70s, 80s, and 90s, where people were first starting to figure out this HIV epidemic. And I remember reading some scientists that were talking about how if this disease mutates and becomes airborne, that's the end of our civilization as we know it.
And we're all fucked.
And we're all screwed. Because that's what viruses do, right? Viruses mutate, they change over time. They get stronger and they evolve so that the medicines that you use, the vaccines that you use don't work on them anymore. That specific virus, had it mutated just a slight bit, like less than 1%, could have become airborne. And AIDS, as we know it, HIV as we know it, could have become a disease that you could get just by breathing. Like, how fucked up is that, right? And that was science's real fear at the point in time. So when you talk about zombies, yeah, I do think it is possible. I don't know if zombies that...
Like, they turn into human-eating...
Yeah, I don't
walking-
know if that's a real thing, but rage zombies, the kind of zombies that you see in movies that they're fast-moving, angry, want to eat everything, and that's what spreads the virus. Zombies? Yeah, I do think that's possible, and I think that's scary as shit.
I was a huge Walking Dead fan for a long time. This last season kind of lost me. I think they went pretty repetitive in their plots and whatever. They should have just ended it last season or this season and did something fucking crazy. But I've often sitting there watching The Walking Dead, I think, what would I do if there was a fucking zombie apocalypse? Where would I go first? Like, they have survival guides for this. People write books about what to do during an apocalypse of zombies. I think what I would do is I would run into the woods. I don't. That's my first instinct when shit hits the fan. Just go into the woods. No one's gonna be there. You'll be safe in the woods. And I would have weapons. And I've thought about the perfect weapon for a zombie apocalypse.
Hit me.
Have you ever thought about this shit?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I want to know what your perfect weapon is.
Are we talking weapon that exists today, or are we talking about imaginary weapon?
No, you can't have a fucking lightsaber.
Dude,
okay?
because lightsaber is the way to go.
I knew what you were thinking. All right, it needs to be an actual weapon or something that could actually be built with the technology we have now. So you could like custom make a weapon, but it has to be realistic in today's technology.
All right, so I think a silenced shotgun that somehow that has 15 to 20 shots in it is probably a real weapon, or at least a possible weapon. So that's one. I think that having a sword or a blunt trauma instrument like a baseball bat or something like that is something that everyone would need. I think hockey pads, like or some kind of Kevlar full body protection would be really important.
Wait, that was more than one weapon. You are allowed one weapon in this apocalypse. What do you choose? I will tell you mine while you think about it.
Go ahead.
I've thought about this, and I think, like, it's got to be a 10-foot spear, right? A 10-foot spear, long spear, and then at the end of it, about, I don't know, 2 feet down, you have some sort of flat hilt, right? So when you shove it into the body of the zombie, it doesn't get stuck. It hits that hilt about 2 or 3 feet down, and then you can pull it out. Because if you get a zombie stuck on your spear, you're screwed, right? You can't use it again. And the reason why you use a long spear is you get to have a little bit of range, but you never need ammo. That's the problem with guns, man. In the zombie apocalypse, ammo is super scarce, and it's going to be hard to find. You never have to reload this.
All right, so I need to make sure that you and I are talking about the same thing, because I'm a little confused. Are these slow-moving zombies or fast-moving zombies? Because I think in the zombie apocalypse debate, that's the key, right? The key is, are they the fast, rage-moving, climb on walls, move super quick, don't care about adrenaline or lactic acid, just they will outrun you zombies? Or are these the slow and shuffling, you have your time to stab, pull out, stab, I said pull out. Stab, pull out zombies.
We all know that phrase isn't in your actual vocabulary, Gus. I would say this. I'm thinking of Walking Dead, slow, belabored moving zombies. World War Z, that's the fast ones, where they're like freaking cockroaches going everywhere, and they're helping each other climb over walls. Those zombies, I just think you're screwed. There's nothing that's going to help you. You just give up and get eaten.
Dude, that's not true. I disagree with you. I think that you are screwed if you are caught in a city. If you're at home and the zombie outbreak breaks through, and these are the fast-moving rage zombies, pretty much you're screwed. I mean, unless you have a bunker of some kind, you're totally screwed. That being said, if you know it's coming, if you get a little bit of advanced warning, you can probably ride it out. I don't know if the woods is the best place, because I think rage zombies can probably climb trees. Like that's what I think. But
see, I'm counting on Walking Dead, the walking zombies.
All right, Walking Dead zombies, you can create a Ewok village utopia in the trees and be happy. I think that's probably fine. My zombie survival strategy is basically, as soon as I know that zombies exist, I'm going down to the ocean. I'm going to steal the nicest boat, yacht, sailboat that I possibly can. Make sure that I'm stocked with fishing line, with some clean water and an ability to purify water that's from the ocean, and take my chances as a pirate at sea during the zombie apocalypse until I see the mushroom clouds disappear while the nukes have been dropped on certain cities. Like, that's basically my zombie survival plan.
I never thought of going out to sea. That's a great idea.
Yeah, right? Assuming fish can't get zombied, you've got food supply.
Zombies can't swim, can they?
No, I don't think... Rage zombies might be able to swim. I don't know, but I kind of doubt it. But normal zombies, no. They're just walking on the bottom of the ocean at the very best. So yeah, man, you've got fish, you've got crab, you can totally survive on seafood as long as you can get water, and if you have sails available to you so that you don't need gasoline, dude, you're set, man.
Yeah.
And you've stolen a boat, so you're a pirate. Who doesn't want to be a pirate during the zombie apocalypse?
I don't think they've ever done the Waterworld zombie apocalypse where that's how they get away from zombies. That would be a good movie.
Now we have rights. I claim it. Like make sure Monday Club has the trademark on the zombie survival of being on a boat. And I mean, imagine all the great adventures, right? Like you can find uninhabited islands and go and hang out on the islands and get coconuts and shit, and then all of a sudden zombies attack and you're like, oh fuck me, and you run back to your ship. Like, it's gonna be great, man.
The only problem is if we're talking Walking Dead zombies, that means we all have the virus in us, so as soon as we die we turn into zombies, and so you could actually get zombies from no zombies. There's just some little details we'd need to figure out.
I mean, we could definitely work that out. I mean, if you sneeze, I will put you on the plank and just sit you out on the plank. And if you start coughing and feeling bad, I'm like, hey man, oh no, I'm gonna put a life preserver on you and push you over, and just, if you come out of it, great, and if not, yeah, it's all right.
What if sharks got the zombie virus? And they turned into zombies, and there were zombie sharks. They already eat humans.
So instead of Sharknado, it's Zombie Shark? I think we could make a C-rated movie right now.
Zombie sharks. And that would be the title. Zombie sharks. Done.
I'm sick and tired of all these motherfucking zombie sharks on this motherfucking boat.
Oh, man. We should be in the movie business.
Hey, we really should. You know
Screw
who's in the
podcasts.
movie business?
Who? Tell me, Gus. Tell me.
Mr. James Lipton.
James Lipton? What the hell are you talking about?
Have you ever seen that show Inside the Actor's Studio?
Oh, is that the guy who owns the tea company?
No.
Oh, okay, Lipton tea.
Yeah. No, James Lipton, he does that show called Inside the Actor's Studio. Actually, every single episode, he asked all of the actors that come on the show the same 10 questions. And it's summertime, we're talking zombies, and I thought it'd be kind of fun if we just go through these 10 questions. You want to go through these with me?
All right, cool. Is this like rapid fire?
Rapid fire.
Head?
First thing that comes to your head.
All right,
here we go. Number 1, what's your favorite word?
Fuck.
Number 2, least favorite word?
No. So many
jokes. We're just not even going to do a single one. Okay. Number 3, what turns you on?
Boobs.
What turns you off?
Zombies.
What sound or noise do you love?
Oh, I'm gonna get all. Do I go soft and sentimental and real?
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want. What sound or noise do you love?
My son's laugh.
There you go.
I love that.
What sound or noise do you hate?
No.
All right, fair enough. What's your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I would like to attempt. That's a good question. I've only thought about being a magician or being homeless. I would go with filmmaker.
All right, I think that's good. All right, what profession would you like to never ever do?
Waiting tables, which would be, again, not up my alley.
All right, and number 10, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrived at the pearly gates?
Dude, you're totally wrong. Let me buy you a beer.
Hell yeah. All right, good job, man. Good job. Cheers.
Cheers. All right, you're up. Here we go. 1, what is your favorite word?
Genetics.
Genetics. That's a 3-syllabular.
Yeah.
Number 2, what is your least favorite word?
Wrong.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3, what turns you on?
Boobs.
Hell yeah. Number 4, what turns you off?
Smelly breath.
Smelly breath. That's a good one. That's a good one. Number 5, what sound or noise do you love?
I love crickets. God, I'm going to take that back. I do love crickets. Crickets are amazing, and sitting outside
Like
listening
at night,
to crickets are awesome.
When you're camping?
But I'm gonna change my answer. I love ticking clocks.
What?
Yeah, I love
That's the most
ticking
annoying
clocks.
sound in the world. Why would you choose that?
Because when if I'm sitting down and there's like a grandfather clock or a clock that ticks in the room, it just relaxes me. I don't know. It's weird.
All right. That's weird. What sound or noise do you hate?
This is not racist in any way, shape, or form. It is literally just a noise that annoys the crap out of me. But Tejano music played through my walls.
What is Tejano music?
Spanish, what do they call it? Accordion, and like just very loud accordion music.
Like Spanish polka?
Yeah, pretty much.
What is your favorite curse word?
Biatch!
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Cruise ship director.
You'd be good at that,
Yeah, I think it'd be amazing.
When the little girls ask you to spin them, do not spin them, Gus. They'll be broken-armed overboard.
There's so many overtones and undertones for that.
What profession would you not like to do?
Working at a bank. I can see that after my third day, I would be bored as shit.
If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You're done. You're done. That's it. You're done. High fives.
You're done?
Yeah, you're done.
You're done?
Yeah.
You don't get to come in?
And no. Just you're done. I think one of my personal fears is the concept of reincarnation, and that you would die, get up to heaven, and they would be like, all right, well, we've got another baby for you to be reborn in. You're going to be reborn in 10 seconds. And me to just think, oh, shit, that means I have to go through high school all over again. That takes us to teachable moments.
Bam. My teachable moment for the week is, okay, just ask for what you want. Don't be a pansy. Don't pussyfoot around. Don't tiptoe around what you want. Just ask for what you want. Nicely, of course. Now, you'll be surprised how often you get a yes. I didn't have, I've been promoting this summer show. I know we talked about it a little bit, but I didn't have any trouble getting articles in like 4 newspapers around Maine and locally about pretty much every show. Every newspaper I asked said, yeah, we'll write an article. They're even going to be sending reviewers to my show this summer, and all I had to do was ask. Then I go to the Chamber of Commerce. I was like, hey, is there anything you guys can do to help me promote my show this summer? And they're like, yeah, we'll put it in our newspaper. We'll do this. Just send us post pictures and everything. Look, it's all because I just asked. So, get out of your head that people don't want to help you or be nice to you, and, nicely ask the people that could help you and be willing to give back as well. I'm giving out free tickets for some of this stuff as well. So just ask.
Yeah, I think that's a really important life lesson for anyone who happens to be hearing my voice right now. Like, just ask. People are so scared of hearing the word no that they don't actually ask the question. And so many times in my life, I agree with you 100%, Pete. If you just ask the question and you're not scared of getting a no, then somebody on the other end just might say, no one's ever asked us that before. Sure, we'll do that, or let us think about it, or how about if we do this and start the dialogue? And that's a really good thing to know. Just going into it, just be ballsy and just ask the question. Worst thing that happens is they say no, which is exactly where you are right now. So, yeah, good job, man. Yeah, just ask for what you want.
Thanks.
My teachable moment of the week is sort of piggybacking on that. Network. You have a group of friends out there that I know you. You're part of Monday Club. That means you're freaking awesome. By inference, your friends, the people you've surrounded yourself with, are also freaking awesome. And every one of those people have awesome friends. So use those people to help you get into a better place. It just so happens, Monday Clubbers, that over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to be moving houses. And as big of a pain in the ass as that is, it's also been made amazingly easy because I reached out to my network of friends and said, hey, people, I'm in a spot where I need to move. Who can help me? And I've had people come out of the woodwork that are part of my social influence and my social network who've been like, hey, I happen to have a property management business. I'll help you find a thing. Or, hey, I happen to have a place that you guys can stay for any amount of time if you need some space or some time. So, just use your friends, and as you make friends, just know the more awesome you are, and I know you are because you're listening to Monday Club, the more awesome your friends are going to be, which means the more help that you'll have in your future.
Dude, I would totally help you move. I'm just in Maine. I mean, I didn't plan it that way or anything. I would totally help you. I'm just in Maine. I'm just really far away. Otherwise, I'd totally help you move.
Well, that's all right, man. Well, I still love you. Monday Clubbers out there, I love you guys too. Give us a shout out if you don't mind on the MondayClubPodcast.com. You can find us on Facebook at Facebook.com/MondayClubPodcast, Twitter at MondayClubPod, Instagram is at Monday Club Podcast, and of course, email MondayClubPodcast@gmail.com. That's also our PayPal account. So if you want to buy us a beer, get a shout out on air, you're most welcome to do that, and we will do our best to get your beer. Pete, happy Monday, buddy.
Happy Monday, Gus. Thank you guys for being part of the club. I can't believe you broke a 10-year-old's arms.
I can't either, man. I still get the flop sweats thinking about that.
I'm totally bringing that up all the time now.
Special shout out to our friends James Caldwell as our sound engineer and Zach Holder for all of the music. Thank you guys so much for what you do. We appreciate you so much.